It was always the inner life of the subject, rather than its characteristic lineaments, which appealed to me, though that life, of course, is inseparable actually from its physical features. This place of mine was not remarkable for any unusual features which stood out. Yet there was a peculiar spacing of the trees, or was it their height in relation to these intervals, which suggested some inner design of very subtle purpose. To concern oneself solely with the problem of formal relationships is to escape into a new world. Here one is in touch with pure reality. I have become lately more interested in woodcut patterns than in woodcut pictures. It is always a relief to be rid of the responsibility of representation. Towards the end of the 17th century, there was a process in use among printers called damasking. Damasking was previously applied to describe the art of engraving arabesques upon armour, but another definition is to deface by stamping or marking with lines and figures. Further, which is an amusing comparison of alternatives, to stamp rude drafts on waste paper, to imprint the figures of flowers on silk or stuff. Thus, certain books deemed unfit for circulation were defaced by imprinting patterns over the pages of type, and then resold to booksellers and other merchants who made use of them in bookbinding, or as linings for cupboards and drawers. If we accept as an aspect of reality the everyday visual world, we may perhaps think of surreality as pertaining to that world which normally we tend either to forget or to hide, in fact the world of the dream and of the so-called subconscious. It is quite possible we shall want to make a new kind of room to live in. Inevitably, then, we shall produce a new form of decoration. In approaching the question of a definite aesthetic arising out of surrealism, the equipment of a room or a suite of apartments cannot be confined to the arrangement of forms and colours, principally echoing the architecture of pictorial schemes, as in so-called abstract art. The creation of an atmosphere, a mood of habitation, is of equal importance. How can we arrive at this? What material have we at hand to build up these new places? In England, it is still considered by some artists rather undignified to do anything but paint. In France, for whatever reason, even the most eminent painters practice versatility. Picasso, Matisse, and Derain have all illustrated books and made scenes for the stage. Leger designs rugs, Dufy textiles and wallpapers, Lesat almost everything in applied art. With us it is left to the younger and lesser known painters to concern themselves with such activities. To sit idly in a well-proportioned room, furnished even economically from the immense store of different materials available today, to feel through the eyes the subtle contrasts of texture and temperature, the strange alliances of alien substances, is surely something of a new pleasure. The fear of one's modern cupboard clashing with the Victorian atmosphere of a room, or one's Victorian chandelier looking out of place in an alto environment, is wholly unjustified. Even more undesirable is the fear that any object, in itself not up to a discriminating aesthetic standard, would be a blot on a whole interior. The aesthetic qualities of the individual items are quite irrelevant. Let them be ugly, let them be incongruous. What matters alone is the unity and congruity of the pattern. We have at once the problem of intruding upon space with certain forms, squares, parallelograms, ovals, and so on, which constitute furniture such as couches, chairs, bookcases, and tables, and which by their disposition involve planes, horizontal, vertical, and inclined, angles, right, acute, and obtuse, directions, divisions, dimensions, and recessions, contrasts of masses, light and shade, in fact, the basic material for creating the structural harmony. When I am at liberty to change my mood and can turn to the geometrical planning of a textile or other form of industrial design, I fancy that I gain something in the release from all representational problems, and it is during these occasional periods that I find non-figurative painting a pure, unhindered joy. It becomes obvious that the two occupations, picture-making and applied design, as expressed in relation to printed and woven textiles, and in decorations for books and so on, do not work eccentrically but in close sympathy. Although the latter occupation is often referred to as sideline, it cannot be regarded as a branch line or siding, but rather an integral part of the main system, the lines merging together or seemingly diverging at times, but always moving forward in the same purpose or direction. There seemed to be so much pattern about. It was evident whichever way I turned my mind or my eyes, it echoed and reverberated down the ages, and it perpetually moved and vibrated around me. It appeared to be an endless subject. Now for its definition. If I was asked, a pattern is a figured surface. I think adequate because it suggests application and background. A surface figured, and because both words are comprehensive. Figure includes everything from a constellation to the check on this shirt, and surface comprises everything from a sheet of paper to the sky.